Welcome back for another video. 3 years ago, I made a video called Could This Team Win FPL? At the time, Haaland was completely essential. He just smashed the Golden Boot record, 36 goals, and now he was 14 mil. And this meant that Salah was so low owned that it was almost differential. And at the time, owning both Haaland and Salah was a genuine differential combination. That team ended up being right on the money. You know, it had 5.5 mil João Pedro, it had the likes of Eze when he was at Palace, it had Saka. So what happened? Well, Salah had 14 goals, 8 assists by game week 20, 22 goal involvements in 20 games, 44 points clear of Haaland. Saka kept pace of Haaland as well. He's only 5 points behind him at that point. João Pedro had 9 goal involvements and so on. Even though Nana was in the team and he was the third top scoring goalkeeper at game week 20. That was the optimal team at the time using FPL Review's projections, which is the same data that I use in my players to buy video every week since 2022. Not AI, that's a buzzword, it's not AI. Just simple projected points for each player, and you work out which combination of players squeezes out the maximum potential score of points. The reason I've always found these tools so interesting is they're not subject to human biases, like they've got no opinions, no emotional lens, you know, no favourite team. So I'm actually going to do you one better than the video title, and I've also included a second team for comparison in this, which is the FPL template team. So the most owned squad in the game, and then what we're going to do is use that as a comparison, because the optimal Game Week 1 team has actually got really differential setup. So let me run you through it. It's big at the back, it's Raya in goal, and that's paired with Gabriel in defence, plus Maguire and Van Dijk. So let's talk more about Gabriel, 209 points last season. And that's despite not playing in 6 games at all, he started 30 games. And if you look at other positions, it actually really takes something special to break 200 points. Only a handful of players did it last season. Thiago, for example, he's also 8 million. He had to score 22 goals. That was miles ahead of anyone else in the league besides Haaland, and yet that earned him 181 points. So I'll be the first to admit, I had a blind spot to Gabriel after that pricing, but he is the optimal Game Week 1 pick. Certainly not saying I'll have him in my Game Week 1 team, but it's food for thought, isn't it? I mean, you can make a counter argument that Saliba is out for months, so Arsenal defence probably suffers unless Mosquera massively steps up. Which honestly could well be the case. He is a really good defender, and he was never getting a look in ahead of Saliba last season, and obviously towards the end of the season he was shoehorned into right back. It might not even matter if there is a drop off, like a 15% drop off in points would still match Thiago last season with 22 goals. But yeah, Mosquera is where I'm currently looking, given that 2.5 mil saving. Make no mistake, you won't get near Gabriel for points long term, and fewer defcons are likely. Maguire's set to start the season for Man United, with De Ligt still sidelined, having undergone surgery. Man United still being linked to a potential new left back, which could kill Shaw as a pick. Huge aerial threat on set pieces and corners, and they've got the best 2 opening fixtures of any side, so loads of clean sheet potential. Only Arsenal have got better clean sheet odds in the opening 3 game weeks. We touched on this in another video, but with defcons added to the game, FPL has drifted towards a game of raising your points floor, rather than just trying to spike hauls from high ceiling picks that get loads of 2-pointers. Like Van Dijk, he kept 10 clean sheets, but 40% of those games he also hit defcon, and he hit defcon loads of times when not keeping a clean sheet as well. Hit defcon 16 times, so an extra 32 points last season. Plus he got the 7 goal involvements. To play devil's advocate again, Liverpool's centre-back situation currently is quite concerning. So Gomez is going to miss the start of the season. Xhaka and Leone aren't in training yet. They need to make another signing, or it's kind of giving vibes from that year. Who remembers when Liverpool were having to play Phillips and I can't remember the other academy player's name now. All the centre-backs were injured and it was just bare bones in defence. I mean, Iriola's a fantastic manager, and we might see an uptick in their defensive numbers compared to last season under Slot once that centre-back situation is resolved too. So it's triple Liverpool. The midfield is Anderson, Semenyo, Bruno, Wirtz and Szoboszlai. Now this is exactly why the premise of this video is, could this team win FPL? Stacking up players from teams is really high variance. Like, it's an absolutely viable approach as well, and I do it plenty of times throughout the season. I've even gone triple defence before. Like, if Arsenal keep a clean sheet, then you've got double the clean sheet points there. If Anderson can assist Semenyo, you've got twice the goal involvements. Of course, it can go both ways though, right? Like if Liverpool lose 1-0 away to Newcastle game week 1, which is of course possible, then you've got no clean sheet there and you've got no goal involvement, so that's 3 blanks. But when you optimise a team, it is a longer term view that's taken. After game week 1, Liverpool have got Forest home, they've got Ipswich away, they've got Fulham home. Fulham could be the new team to target for all we know. And Bruno captain over Haaland, which of course also has absolutely huge potential. You've heard it all before in terms of Hull and their data. They're very likely a team to target. Semenyo is a crucial cog in Man City's wheel in my opinion, and I'd be quite surprising if his minutes aren't very good. On average, I honestly think he's going to get 80 to 85 minutes. So let's do the 2 strikers and the bench, and then we'll have a look at the template team afterwards. So up front, it's João Pedro and Igor Jesus. Igor Jesus is the only manual change that I've made here. The reason being, the optimal team currently has Muniz, but Fulham have splashed huge money on Garcia. He's not in the game yet. Arbeloa worked with him at Real Madrid, so he probably will be the one leading the line. If he comes in at 6 mil as well, then obviously that's fine to go back to the Fulham forward. But Igor Jesus has scored in all 4 pre-season games now, 4 goals in 4. He's the most informed player right now in that respect. So he's got to be in the conversation as a game week 1 pick for 6 mil. And then it's João Pedro to round it off, which is fair enough. But no Haaland. Yep, that's right. If you optimise the best game week 1 team purely on what's expected to score the most points, it does not include Haaland. Now, given his 75% ownership, obviously it's crucial that Bruno captain does well. Last season, they were only 4 points apart, so of course it can happen. And no Haaland really does give you a ridiculously stacked team everywhere else. Like, they can quite easily make up the points, even if Haaland does do well. And then the bench is Dovin, Solanke, Maatsen and Anderson. So on top of an extremely stacked team, this also has 0.5 mil on the bank, and it's got a 6 mil striker ready to go on the bench when needed. It's Solanke. He looks set to be Tottenham's first choice striker under De Zerbi. He started up top against Chelsea in the most recent pre-season friendly. Should be on pens. Big question is, can he stay fit? Again, you could tweak that spot if you like. You know, there's Calvert-Lewin. Obviously with the 0.5 mil, there's Mateta. Another thing that's worth a mention is that you could use that 0.5 mil to move Dovin up to a 4.5 mil keeper. So someone like Petrovic or Rushworth that has a good Game Week 2 fixture, and you bench boost Game Week 2, you'd want to lose Maatsen as well since he's got Arsenal Game Week 2, but you get the point. There's a really strong case for bench boosting in Game Week 1 or 2, because by the time you wildcard, you can have a 4 mil backup keeper in your team that you don't need, so you can use that money in your starting 11 instead if you bench boost early and then wildcard later. Whereas those that don't bench boost early are going to have to spend at least 0.5 mil on a backup keeper since we've got no 4 mil keepers. And you're very unlikely to spend a valuable free transfer setting a backup keeper, meaning there is a genuine chance you carry a backup keeper all the way to your second wildcard. And what if you end up in a situation where Raya is the best keeper to have by the time you wildcard? You're really going to spend 6 mil and 4.5 mil on 2 keepers. So I've not ruled out the no Haaland strategy myself and get the bench boost done early. You could even pair a Game Week 3 free hit with it just to get Haaland back in and perhaps swap Anderson for an attacker like Foden if he's the clear first choice, because Man City have got Coventry home that week. Chelsea have got Arsenal away in Game Week 3 as well, so again on the free hit, João Pedro can be moved out, etc. Maybe reduce your Arsenal defence exposure to just Gabriel on the free hit. There's no right or wrong way to play FPL. We've seen many winners over the years play very different ways, so it's quite interesting the more you look at it. We've all got strong opinions, haven't we? But it doesn't mean we're right. Like, if I was right all the time, I'd win FPL every year. This season's champion just might start the season with this team. So, what does the counter team look like? Rather than taking on the masses with really differential setup like no Haaland, what does the template team look like? Let's compare. So for this, I've picked the most owned players in the game within budget. So it's a wisdom of the crowd approach to start the season off, and basically you've got very minimal downside because you're not exposed to the high owned players. Before we look at it, don't forget to sign up to Fantasy Football Scout. They're doing 7 months free on the annual plan right now, and they just keep adding and adding new features, and it really is crazy how much value you get. You've got player comparison, rate my team tool, so you just upload a screenshot of your team and it'll give you feedback. There's data tables, fixture ticker, pre-season tracker and all the rest. There's a QR code on screen there, or go to s.id/FPL Focal. That link's in the description as well. My 9th year as a member, 5 of those years before I started my channel, so they didn't even know I existed or who I was then. So that's testament to how good I think Scout is. In goal, Raya stays in the team, but a complete change in the back three. It's Gueye, Diop and Shaw. I mentioned earlier that Man United have been rumoured to be looking for a new left back, but if that doesn't happen, then Shaw's great for 4.5 mil with those fixtures. It blew my mind that he started all 38 games last season. He didn't score particularly well when you look at it that way though. He's just a really low ceiling, bland pick. I thought he'd played like 25 games last season. Diop is the most owned 4 mil defender in the game. Sunderland home in Game Week 1, which isn't bad, and he is startable then. Given he's 20% owned, however, you could be exposed to early price falls there. You know, if they concede against Sunderland, which is very possible, let's be honest, and you've got Man United and Liverpool after that, you wouldn't expect them to keep clean sheets in those games either, so you could fall victim to mass early transfers. There's no higher transfer activity than the start of a new season, so he could be 3.9 mil by Game Week 3. Instead, O'Shea is set to partner him in centre-back if you want an Ipswich centre-back, 1.2% owned. Price changes obviously do scale with ownership, of course, but we don't know exactly how, so it's just worth a mention. In midfield, it's Rodgers, Szoboszlai, Bruno and Ndiaye. Ndiaye, as I'm sure you've seen, has been linked to a move, but currently no agreement in place. As it stands, if he remains an Everton player, he's a great option for 6 mil. Fairly disappointing output last season, but he did miss a fair few games due to AFCON. He actually did alright for DEFCONs. He's on penalties, not bad for 6 mil. Szoboszlai and Bruno remain in the team, but it's Rodgers as the other one, the third most owned midfielder in the game after those two actually, 32% ownership. Gittins is actually having a pretty good pre-season so far, and Rodgers is joining up late due to the World Cup. They just played Spurs and he actually got an assist that game as well, no Rodgers there. Given Gittins is getting the full pre-season, it's not impossible for him to get the nod in Game Week 1 down the left, and then Rodgers comes in Game Week 2 for example. And up front it's Brobbey, João Pedro and Haaland, the safety blanket of Haaland. August is the month he's scored the most goals in over his career. September is second top as well, so it is the ultimate high variance play. Like, what if Man City do take some time to adjust to this post-Pep era? Arsenal initially struggled after Wenger, Man United after Fergie. Pep didn't serve as long, of course, but 10 years is a really long time, and he's one of the greatest managers of all time. For all we know, Haaland has 3 goals after 5 game weeks, and everyone's talking about how he's just not worth 15.5 mil with the current output, and we'll be looking back at this draft thinking, I wish I'd gone for it. And lastly, on the bench, Dubravka, Pedro Porro, Van der Wijk and Hughes. Wharton's been spotted with a boot on his right ankle, so if he's not back by Game Week 1, Hughes could actually be set for good minutes, probably the most of any 4.5 mil mids. There is that slight risk, the same as Diop though. As soon as he's not starting games, he could end up dropping to 4.4 mil. Same goes for Dubravka, by the way. This is a really niche or really nerdy FPL tip, but if you want 2 players in your team that are price locked, Burstow has just signed for Sheffield Wednesday, and McNally has gone on loan for the season as well. So if you're on a 3-5-2, you could go for Burstow as an option to sit last on your bench as your third forward. And likewise, if you've got a 4 mil bench keeper, McNally will be immune to price changes. That's because once the player is red flagged and removed from the game, they cannot get price changes. So it's just something to bear in mind if you want that immunity. But I might still actually opt for a low-owned 4 mil keeper who's second in the pecking order, if that makes sense, because just in case the first choice keeper gets injured, you might end up in a scenario where you've actually got a bench keeper that plays. Pedro Porro could be set for a great season under De Zerbi. He was brilliant at the World Cup and he actually played a big role in them going all the way. I've just got him on the bench here Game Week 1, again just in case he's not back in time. Could be Spence right back Game Week 1. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this video has given you a lot of food for thought. Hit subscribe, more FPL content coming. I'm going to be chatting to a manager who's got 10 top 10k finishes and he's sharing his Game Week 1 draft with us next. There's a link in the description to join Scout. I'll see you soon for the next one.